Hi, thanks for watching BibleMountain.com. In this video we're going to read from Exodus 34 verses 25 and 26 and be reminded that since the Creator made us, He gets to make the rules. So we'll read from Exodus 34. Remember, the context of this is the Israelites are at Mount Sinai, they're receiving the Mosaic Law, and these are some of the commandments that they were given. Verse 25, "You shall not offer the blood of my sacrifice with leavened bread, nor is the sacrifice of the feast of the Passover to be left over until morning." Now, in our society, we have a lot of laws and regulations. Some of those laws are based on things that humans agree are inherently wrong. For example, we have laws against murder. We have laws against stealing other people's property. Most humans agree that it's inherently wrong to kill one another. It's inherently wrong to steal things that belong to other people. And so we have laws against those things. But we have other laws that prohibit things that are not necessarily inherently wrong. For example, where I live, we have zoning regulations. Some areas are zoned agricultural, some areas are zoned residential, and some areas are zoned industrial. What that means is you can't put a factory in the middle of an agricultural area or a residential area. Likewise, you can't put a housing development in the middle of an industrial park. And it's not that we think there is something inherently wrong with putting factories in the middle of an agricultural area or a residential area. It's just that as a society, we believe that agricultural works better when you don't have a factory in the middle of farm fields. Likewise, as a society, we believe that it makes better places to live if you don't have a factory in the middle of a housing development. And so we have laws regulating where these various activities can take place. And again, it's not that there's anything inherently wrong with mixing those things. It's just that as a society, we believe that it's better to keep those activities separate. Now, the Mosaic Law had the same thing. Some of the laws and regulations in the Mosaic Law are things that people believe are inherently wrong. The Mosaic Law prohibited murder and stealing. But the Mosaic Law also had laws and regulations against things that were not necessarily inherently wrong. Now, we see some examples of that here. This verse told the Israelites that they could not offer a sacrifice with leavened bread. Now, there was nothing inherently wrong with leavened bread. There was nothing inherently better about unleavened bread. But these are sacrifices that were going to be given to God. These were gifts that were going to be given to God. And God, being the Creator, simply decided that He wanted His gifts, His sacrifices, to be offered with unleavened bread. And as the Creator, He has the right and the authority to require that. Likewise, they were told that the feast of the Passover could not be left over until morning. Again, there was nothing inherently wrong with leaving it over till morning. It's just that God, as the Creator, has the right and the authority to tell the Israelites what to do with their Passover sacrifice. And in this case, He told them that they couldn't keep it over until the morning. Verse 26, "You shall bring the very first of the first fruits of your soil into the house of Yahweh your God. You shall not boil a young goat in its mother's milk." Now, once again, there's nothing inherently wrong with boiling a young goat in its mother's milk. The young goat is dead, so it certainly doesn't know that it's being boiled in its mother's milk. And the mother goat certainly didn't know that its offspring was being boiled in its milk. But God, for whatever reason, gave the Israelites this commandment that they could not do that. And as the Creator, He has the right and the authority to say that. And so in this case, He did. Now, the New Testament gives us similar commandments, things that are not necessarily inherently wrong. And we see an example of that in 1 Corinthians chapter 14. "The women are to keep silent in the churches, for they are not permitted to speak, but are to subject themselves, just as the law also says." Now, this is very controversial in our society because most people look at this and they say, well, there's nothing wrong with women speaking in church. And they're right. There isn't necessarily anything inherently wrong with that. But the church is God's church. And He has the right to set whatever rules He wants to. And for whatever reason, He determined that women should be silent in the church. And He has the right and the authority to decide that. We also see in 1 Timothy 2, verses 11 through 12, "A woman must quietly receive instruction with entire submissiveness, but I do not allow a woman to teach or exercise authority over a man, but to remain quiet." And once again, just as in our society, we have laws that prohibit things that are not necessarily inherently wrong, but the government has the power and authority to make those laws. Likewise, God has the power and authority to make whatever rules He wants to make. And for whatever reason, God placed certain restrictions on what women can do. And it doesn't matter if it's inherently wrong or not. It doesn't matter if we like it or not. God is God. He is the creator. He has the right to tell us what to do, and we need to obey these commands whether they make sense or whether they seem right or just. If you haven't joined my email list yet, please do so. First of all, it is free. By signing up, you get immediate access to all my free content. It'll be delivered right to your email inbox. This is the best way to make sure you don't miss out on any of my free content. In order to sign up, go to BibleMountain.com, click on follow. There will be a place there to enter your email address. Once again, thank you for watching BibleMountain.com.